Hello, everyone. So, yesterday I saw this tweet from Matt Ford, the Gut Trouble Show, and he says, join us in our live chat where the Tedesco brothers expose the shady tactics of Mick West and Metabunk's cult followings. The Tedesco brothers absolutely destroy Mick's debunk. Mick is no UAP expert and he's no scientist, he's a disinformation expert. So that sounded kind of interesting. So I watched a bit of the video today, and basically this is what it boils down to.
Am I understanding you correctly that the angle, the lat long data that Mick West was trying to use would have supported his argument?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So
yes.
so Mick West is using false data to support his argument, whereas had he used the correct data, it would have supported your argument.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting, really. They are saying that they think that I got it wrong when I said that they got it wrong, and that if I was actually right, then it would support my argument and discredit their argument. So what are we actually talking about here? Well, this video is the one that's in question. It's a video of a light in the sky, and we see some clouds and stuff and some trees. We see some flashing there, possibly aircraft navigation lights. And then we see like the kind of a light spot in the clouds up here. And we see this object approaching this spot in the clouds. That object doesn't move. A little bit of repositioning the camera here. And then we see it gets closer and closer to the cloud layer. Then as this object gets to the cloud layer, it kind of disappears through the clouds and they both kind of fade out. Now, what this looks like fairly obviously is just a plane flying up. The landing lights, because it's just taken off from the airport, are illuminating the clouds. So you've got this cloud layer, the plane flies up, it's illuminating these clouds, you see the landing lights of the plane, and then it flies through the clouds, and now it's behind the clouds, and so you don't see it anymore. So that's what it looked like to me and to pretty much everybody else who looked at it. They're claiming it's some kind of weird rotating alien craft or something. So the issue that they're talking about here, the heading and the angles of latitude and longitude is where were they standing and what direction were they looking in. Now, they posted what they thought it was. I asked John Tedesco where they were and location direction, and they gave this location, and they gave this direction 236 degrees, which is kind of towards the southwest. And, that was kind of interesting because that would actually put them looking out over the ocean. And at that particular time, roughly, there weren't really any planes there that kind of matched that. So that kind of did, in fact, support their argument that it was something anomalous if that was direction was correct. The problem was it wasn't correct. We did just some very straightforward research. We looked at the video. We took some frames of the video and stitched them together so you could see the sky in the context, so we know what direction they're looking at. There's a bench here. We see some lines on the concrete. There's another parking lot over here with a car headlights. And here's just basically an area where some plants are and some sand. So we know where this is, and we were able to track this down fairly straightforwardly. And it turns out it was, we can just go into Google Earth. They were standing around here. This is the direction they're looking in. This is the bench. This is the tree that they're looking in. And we can see that they're standing in Parkfield 2, looking in this direction. And the direction that they chose, that they said was 236 degrees, which is this direction. Completely different direction. This is looking out way over the ocean. This is the actual direction that they're looking in from the video, and we can tell this by looking at the video. We know this to be the case because we've got panoramic photographs of that location. We can see this tree here, which appears in the video. There's the tree, the exact same tree is appearing in right here and right here. And here's the bench. This is the bench in question. So we know exactly where they are. We know exactly what direction they're looking in. And so we can tell exactly what angle that they're looking in. And so we know that they are wrong. We know that their actual heading that they gave is actually wrong. This is something that we actually discussed in great depth in the discussion thread, which I will link on Metabunk. It's something It was a crowd sharing, a crowdsourced effort. We tracked down this location and the direction. And once you have that, you can actually you can find a candidate plane. Here's one. If you put the GPS track into Google Earth in this location, it pretty much matches where the light is. Here's the light right here. It's pretty much in the exact same spot. And we know that this is actually a perfectly viable candidate plane. And we know it looks like a plane. It probably is a plane. And we know that they got their direction wrong. The funny thing is that they even though they've seen the work that we did on Metabunk, and they copied it all into a Word document, and they were scrolling through it, they didn't seem to realize that we did in fact actually have the correct location, we have the correct bench, and we have the correct direction. And they go ahead and they say,
there's the bench they use as a reference. Oh, point, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So they picked the wrong bench. They picked the bench. They thought we were standing in front of that bench. Yeah, they said this guy said that he saw the bench in restrooms and behind parking field 5.
He saw that same bench in front of the restrooms.
Yeah. Well, okay. The only problem is we're at parking field 2.
So Mick West he was actually looking at data from the wrong parking lot altogether?
Yes.
Well, yeah, they're in parking field 2, which is the parking field that we have right here. Parking field 2, and here's the bench, and here's the tree. Here's the actual tree, and here is the building that we can see in the panoramic photograph. So we know 100% that this is the correct location. There's no doubt whatsoever. There's not in the slightest little bit of doubt that this is in fact the correct direction, and their direction is wrong. So when they go ahead and they say something like,
am I understanding you correctly that the angle, the lat long data that Mick West was trying to use would have supported his argument?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
so Mick West is using false data to support his argument, whereas had he used the correct data, it would have supported your argument.
Right.
so as you can see, it does support my argument. There's actually no question that this is in fact the correct direction. My argument is supported, their argument is wrong, and their entire video of them talking to Matt is basically stuff like this. It's just them misunderstanding things in the thread. It's kind of weird.